الله الرحمن الرحيم صلاة والسلام على سيدنا المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Okay, so we are looking here at section 18, and the theme here really is if we adhere to divine guidance, if we adhere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we will be successful. We will be believers, and in our success, in our belief, we will be successful. And so we begin in Surah Al-Mu'minun. Of course, we really begin. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And I said to you last time or the time before that I teach a class called Falah. And that class is the practical application, like how I've only done it as a workshop before. Now we're going to do it as a class, so it's going to be deeper and wider and more intense. And we're going to learn about this falah. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, always more succinct and so much light. And I mean, this is the Quran, this is the light for our lives. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So this is a clarity for us. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Just getting my English up here. Those who in their prayer have khushu'. And so, of course, the next question is, how do we have khushu'? There's so much to be said about that. There are books that have been written about how do we have khushu' in our prayer. But I think quite simply, we have khushu' with intention. We have khushu' by trying to pray towards the beginning of our time, learning new Quran. There's all sorts of tips. But here, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is circling this back and saying that the mu'minun, al-mu'minun, the mu'min, the believer, is the one الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. So is the one who has khushu' in their prayer. And الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنَ اللَّغْوِ الْمُعْرِضُونَ. And those who turn with laghu. So laghu is language that is wasted time. It is nasty language. It is bad words. It is ill speech. It is talking about. It is all the yucky things that can come out of our mouth. And so a believer is the one who turns away from laghu, from this ill speech. Turns away, not ignores, not dabbles in it. Turns away. So we're asking ourselves about our own personal, how we doing personally. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. This is so interesting because the next one is وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ. The one who with zakat, they do it. That the believer is the one who has khushu' in their prayer, presence in prayer. The believer is the one who turns away from bad words. No, I'm not going to say them. I'm not going to have them in part of my life. And I feel a tightening of my heart if you use words like that around me. That's what the believer is. And الَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاتِهِمْ فَاعِلُونَ. So they're not thinking about doing zakat. They're doing zakat. And also, by the way, you can't give charity unless you have enough money to give it. And you can't give zakat unless you have enough wealth so that there's left over. So there's something here which is very beautiful about being able to be that person. الَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. They're active about their zakat. They're active in their zakat. They do it. They're active zakat givers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. Those who guard their private parts or their morality, those who are sexually moral, those who are not deviant sexually, those who keep it all on one table. It's one table. Muslims have one offer on the table. It is not a buffet. It is marriage between a man and a woman, period, end of story. That's the believer. And only in marriage, not before, not while you're married to somebody out there with somebody else. None of this stuff. And we're going to get into that as social issues in a minute. But right now we're talking about the believer. الَّذِينَ هُمْ, just a second. الَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. So the next two verses continue to talk about morality. And now those who are also the believer is the one who with their trusts and their promises, ra'un, I love this word ra'un because it's like a shepherd. Someone who is really, we take care of our trusts and promises. It's not just we fulfill our promise. No, we give it attention. We notice, oh, I promised. I have to do something about that. I have to take care of that. I have to think about that. What am I going to do about that today? لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ. So what is your amana? What are you being entrusted with? الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. So in the beginning, it was in our prayer we have khushu'. Now it is in our prayer yuhafidun. We carefully protect our prayers. We protect them. So when you get up in the morning and you're thinking about your day, you think, where am I praying dhuhr? Where am I praying asr? Where am I praying maghrib? Now with COVID-19, the answer is in my bedroom, in my living room, in my basement, in my yard. But in regular world life, we go to work, we go to the shops, we go whatever, we have to answer the question, where am I praying? Where am I praying this? When am I praying this? So that we carefully maintain them. We're taking care of that, making sure of that our prayers are taken care of. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. Those are the inheritors. The inheritors of what? الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Those who will inherit Firdaus, أعلى الجنة, the highest level of Jannah, هم فيها خالدون. They will be there eternally. When someone dies, we always say, may Allah give them Firdaus. This is what we say. We say, Ya Allah, may Allah give your person Firdaus. By the way, public service announcement about how we give condolences when someone dies. If someone dies that's your person, like someone close to you, we respond between us and Allah by saying, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That's the way we respond, because that's responding to Allah, recognizing, Ya Allah, I know that this person belongs to you in the first place. But if someone else loses someone, it's not your person, you're going to someone to give them condolences. You don't say that to them. You say to them, Azzam Allahu ajarakum. Azzam Allahu ajarakum. That's what the Prophet ﷺ used to say. May God make great your patience. May God make great your reward. May God make great your reward for your patience. So it's a little different attitude. We're going to people, we want to pray for them. We're not telling them, anyway, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. No. That's what we say for ourselves. So, alhamdulillah, I know this person belongs to you. SubhanAllah, one of my colleagues today lost his brother yesterday, the day before, and I called him today, and he said, SubhanAllah, qadarallah ma'isha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's saying about himself, but I didn't say that to him. I said, may Allah reward you, may he go to Allah yarhamu. Yes, may Allah have mercy on him, may he be in Firdaus. We say beautiful words to people to ease them and give them hope. Okay? And here for ourselves, we have hope if we can fulfill these and say to ourselves, oh yes, inshallah, I have khushu'. Inshallah, ya Rabbi, I turn away from bad words. But this is something to think about each step of the way. Now, as we move forward, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. This is how we have success. Okay? This is how we have success. Now, throughout this surah, Mu'minun, there are a number of examples of that personal success. And I'm not going to do that many of them because I want to make sure I get into Surah An-Nur and talk about that. So let's just go to verse 73 here. 73. Yes, 73. Because here to the Prophet ﷺ, this is the way that we are walking on the straight path with him, the way that we have falah. وَإِنَّكَ لَتَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. And indeed, you invite them to a straight path. So we can trust the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, excuse me, to give us the straight path and give us falah. And the next verse, right after that, وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ عَنِ الصِّرَاطِ لِلنَّاكِبُونَ. And those who do not believe in the hereafter are on a path of nakibun, this path of being lost. They don't know where they are. They're just lost out there somewhere. Those who don't believe in the hereafter. So we want to settle in our belief in the hereafter and focus on it and recognize it and hold on to it for falah. And then verse 82 continues that thought. There are those who will say, قالوا أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما أإنا لمبعوثون. It's a question that we hear still today. They said, when we have died and become dust and bones, will we be resurrected? And exactly what we hear today. Subhanallah, subhanallah. But then skip a couple of verses and you go to verse 85. سيقولون لله قل أفلا تذكرون. They say to Allah, then will you not remember? أفلا تذكرون. Will you not be of those who remember? So we want to be of the people of dhikr. Ya Allah, make us of the people of dhikr. Make us of the people who know you. Make us of the people who truly understand your words. And for falah, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us now, 102, how to have falah. It's a theme here. How to have falah. فَمَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. So if you want to have falah, you have to make heavy your scales with good deeds. Make heavy your scales with good deeds. Think about your good deeds. What good deeds am I doing? How many am I doing? Am I doing enough? Can I do more? Make heavy your scales with good deeds. Don't just do what you can. Oh yeah, let's okay. Toss in a good deed in my cart over there. No. Make heavy your good deeds. Make heavy your scales with good deeds for falah. For falah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the opposite. وَمَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فِي جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدُونَ. These are the losers, those who have light scales. SubhanAllah, look, it doesn't say empty. Doesn't mean they don't do any good deeds. But their scales are light. مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا. They're the losers, they lost. We don't want to lose. خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ, they lost their very souls, their very selves. We don't want to lose ourselves. We want to gain ourselves. We want to have falah for ourselves. We want success for ourselves. And this is possible for all of us. We want to do that by filling our basket, if you will, or our scales with good deeds. And we already read in the first verses how to do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us those 10 things, what to do to be of the people of falah. And so we move from personal success to societal success in Surah An-Nur. And so interesting, this surah, how it starts. It starts with Suratun أنزلناها وفرضناها وأنزلنا فيها آيات بينات لعلكم تذكرون. This is a surah which we have sent down, وَفَرَضْنَاهَا, and we made it an obligation upon you. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Just hold on to that sentence. This surah we sent down and made it a farad upon you. فيها آيات بينات. There are clear verses within it. لعلكم تذكرون, so that you can become of those who are the people of remembrance. You can become of the people of dhikr. Alhamdulillah. Now you say, Alhamdulillah, let's get some clarity. This is for societal clarity, individual and social clarity. What are the rules? Rule number 1, absolutely no adultery. Period. End of story. Absolutely no adultery. Adultery is haram. And so it is strongly haram. And we live in a society, in a world today that is so over sexually stimulated that people are beginning to think that it's normal, or that it's weird not to have an adulterous relationship, or it's weird to get married even. Wastaghfirullah. This is very clear. Very, very clear. La. And then والذين يرمون المحصنات ثم لم يأتوا بأربعة شهداء فاجلدوهم. So also slandering people and claiming about someone that they have committed adultery or they are committing this great sin, when you don't have proof, that's a terrible sin. So, zip, don't act in an immoral way, but don't talk about people and say that they are if you don't know it. خلاصنا? No, just leave it alone. It's not your business. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. And then, what else? Then we have the ifk. Now, this surah talks about the ifk, which is the trial of Aisha radiallahu anha. And that's for a seerah class. I'm not going to have time to go into all the details of that. But it's mentioned here along with with all of these ideas of the haram nature of illicit sexual activity between two unmarried people. And it's also mentioned here as this idea of the great sin of slandering someone. And there's really beautiful verses here when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals her innocence. It's so touching, really, in elevating her, and it's scolding the Muslim ummah for where they were, and scolding all of us here today. لولا إذ سمعتموه ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم خيرا وقالوا هذا إفك مبين. This is verse 12. And I'm going to go back to verse 11 in a second here, but I just wanted to say something here. Why then, when you heard it, did not the believing men and believing women think good of one another and say, this is an obvious falsehood? And why did you talk about it? Why didn't you just say, this is Aisha? A'udhu billah. No. And so many of our problems in our heart come because somebody says something to us or we see something and we're like, oh, talking about that person inside of our heart. And we should know better. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, you heard this. Why didn't you say, oh, you are a believer, say about that person? No, have husn al-zan, khair, say good about that person inside of yourself. And say that is for sure a falsehood. This is how we are asked. Unless we have proof, eyewitness proof. Now in the verse before it, there is something also really very beautiful that I want to just point out. This was a terrible trial, the ifk for Aisha and for our whole community. إن الذين جاءوا بالإفك عصبة منكم لا تحسبوه شرا لكم بل هو خير لكم. This verse should blow your mind. It says, indeed those who came with falsehood are a group among you. Do not think it is bad for you. Rather, it is good for you. Allah. What? Subhanallah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us that even our trials, they are khair for us. And of course, at that time, one of the things that this trial did is it made clear who some of the hypocrites were. And that helped to sort of settle society a little bit. Okay, so what else? There are many rules here that help us to straighten out society. If we go as well to verse 21. Excuse me. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. Don't follow in the footsteps of shaitan. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. And this is really critical in how we live our lives. We need to really be clear that we're following the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not shaitan. Goodness gracious. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. And then 22, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks directly really to the issue of Abu Bakr, who one of his relatives, he used to give him money, but he was one of the leading people against Aisha. So he said, I'm not going to give him money anymore. Any one of us would be like, of course not. Of course, طبعا لا. Certainly I'm not going to give someone money who's saying bad things about my own daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, teaches us. There's a completely different scale for goodness. We can't say we know what goodness is if we're not in the Quran reading what goodness is. وَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ اللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Let them pardon and overlook. Would you not like that Allah should forgive you? And Allah is forgiving and merciful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So give to here your person who was bad to you, but keep on giving to him. Keep giving to him. This is not how we think nowadays. We just don't think like this. We're all up in the how do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? Like, who cares how we feel? It matters how we feel a little bit. It matters how we feel. We have to understand ourselves. But there's a point where we say, I feel like this, but it's not healthy. So I'm putting it to the side and I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing, even if it doesn't feel good. It's okay. We can get out of our comfort zone a little bit. We can give to people, even if it's not easy. We can live and fulfill the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around us, even if it's not comfortable. And here's another ruling in this Surah An-Nur, which is so powerful. Remember the first verse, فَرَضْ عَلَيْنَا. These are the things that are farad on us. And it is to, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَدْخُلُوا بُيُوتًا غَيْرُ بُيُوتِكُمْ. Don't go into homes that are not your homes. For us today, that seems pretty normal. We have locks on our doors and all of this. But in the past, there weren't always locks on people's doors. So this is a real rule of adab. Don't just walk into people's houses. Knock and ask permission before you walk in. And this is something some in-laws could learn from, couldn't they? Not mine. Mine, mashallah. My in-laws are the epitome of good manners. You won't meet people with good manners like that, mashallah, all of them. But around the world, certainly we've seen plenty of people, they just think, oh, my name is on this house, I'm just going to walk in. Like, knock. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. Knock before we walk in. And then in verse 31, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. So here is a ruling for women. 31, let me go to 31 in the English. قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يغضضن من أبصارهن ويحفظن فروجهن ولا يبدين زينتهن إلا ما ظهر منها. This is one of the verses in the Quran that make farad the hijab. Many people have asked me on the chat here, is hijab farad? Yes, hijab is farad. And here in this surah is one of the verses that clearly make this statement clear. Say to the believing women to lower their gaze and to protect their private parts. And that means really doesn't really mean private parts. It means to protect their, like, to be sexually moral, not to fool around, I guess is what the vernacular would be. ولا يبدين زينتهن إلا ما ظهر منها ولا يضربن بخمورهن على جيوبهن. That's the hijab one right there. And to take the scarf that is already on their head, this, and wrap it around their neck. على جيوبهن. جيوبهن is this. جيوبهن is the part of your neck that is open, the open part of your clothing and your neck. To wrap it around. And وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا. And then it goes on to who, and not to show more than that, except for to your sons and your husbands and your etc. So this is another ruling in this verse, in this surah. And then we get all these rulings, and there's rulings about marriage and stuff like that. And then we get to this incredible verse, subhanAllah, this surah. وَلَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ آيَاتٍ مُبَيِّنَاتٍ. So now we've sent down to you these verses that are clear. Ya Allah, la ilaha illa ant. وَمَثَلْ مِنَ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ مَوْعِظَةً لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And these are examples from those who passed before you, and an admonition for those who fear Allah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this gift. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح. المصباح في زجاجة. الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم. Allah, 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 Allah. And two more verses after that are really also very powerful. This one though, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. The example of his light. So it is مثل نوره. Now this ha sound is a pronoun. And that pronoun refers back to, according to the scholars, either Allah, the light of God, or it refers to the believer's heart. مثل نورك مشكاة فيها مصباح. That within the believer's heart is a niche. And in that niche is this glass. And it is this clear glass that the true believer's heart is clear glass. كأنها كوكب دري. This globe of clear glass that has in it this beautiful, pure oil that isn't from the east or from the west. And it lights up. وَلَوْ لَمْ تَمْسَسْهُ نَارٌ. Even though it doesn't have fire. نُورٌ عَلَى نُور. Because the heart of the believer carries the heart of God. يَهْدِي اللَّهِ لِنُورِهِ. Allah guides to His light whom He wills. And Allah gives, وَيَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. And then, from this beautiful, beautiful verse, and of course, if you're taking a tafsir class, you're going to get more than that, but we have to continue. We move to the next verse, next two verses. فِي بُيُوتٍ. And this brings that light. It talks to us more about the light. فِي بُيُوتٍ أَذِنَ اللَّهُ أَن تُرْفَعَ وَيُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ يُسَبِّحُ لَهُ فِيهَا بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْآصَالِ. There are homes in which Allah has ordered to be raised. There are biyut, places, buildings that Allah has ordered to be raised, and that His name be mentioned therein, glorifying Him in the morning and the evening. We want our heart to be that bait, the heart that has in it the light of Allah, that we glorify Him in the morning and the evening. We want our home to be that bait. We want our masajid to be that bait. And then رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة. We circle back to the beginning of Al-Mu'minun. يخافون يوم تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار. And there are men whom which neither commerce nor business distracts them from the remembrance of Allah. And many of the Mufassirin have mentioned that Rijal here does not have to mean men, like we talk about them now, but that's also for another discussion. But anyway, it's okay. Men, people that are not distracted by business or commerce from the remembrance of Allah. Dhikrullah. We don't want anything to distract us from dhikrullah. Wa iqam as-salah, and the establishing of prayer. Wa ita az-zakah, going back to those beginning ones, remember? And giving zakah. Yakhafuna. Yakhafuna is fearing, having awe of, fearing, being aware of and having awe of. يَوْمًا تَتَقَلَّبُ فِيهِ الْقُلُوبِ. The day in which the hearts, قُلُوبَ الْأَبْصَارِ, the hearts and the eyes, the hearts and the sight will go like this, will change and move like this on the day of judgment. And this is what we are. And then it continues to the end of the surah. If we continue to the end of the surah, we see in the very end of it, verse 63. I'm sure you read it today, and it was so beautiful, and you're just, mashallah. In the last part, we're reminded that with all that we learned of the rules, we learned in the beginning of falah, how to be the people of falah. Then we learned the rules and how to behave in society. And then we learned that if we have falah and we're taking care of society, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Ya Allah, we can access that nur. And then we're reminded in verse 63. Yes. لا تجعلوا دعاء الرسول بينكم كدعاء بعضكم بعضا. Don't make the calling of the messenger among yourselves as the call of one of you to another. SubhanAllah. And again, what the Prophet has called us to, let's uplift it, let's raise it way up so that we can follow it and make it in our lives. Make it a part of our lives. And it finishes then, the last verse. أَلَا إِنَّ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ قَدْ يَعْلَمُ مَا أَنْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ ويوم يرجعون إليه فينبئهم بما عملوا والله بكل شيء عليم. Unquestionably, to Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. Already He knows that upon which you stand, and knows the day when they will be returned to Him, and He will inform them of what they have done. And Allah is knowing of all things. We will be informed of what we have done on that day. And inshallah, that will be a day of success for us in our personal lives. Inshallah, we will have success in our social, in our community lives, uplifting and upholding the laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked us to uphold, knowing and trusting that they are what bring us true happiness and the true light of God into our hearts. Ameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. A reminder, as usual, to please support us at launchgood.com/Rabata or at rabata.kindful.com. You can purchase our books. I want to thank everyone who is purchasing our books. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So excited about that. You're really supporting us by purchasing our books at daybreak.rabata.org. And registration is open for our first summer semester. It's not our first, but it's our first full syllabus summer semester, full curriculum summer semester. And it has opened at ribat.rabata.org. You can check out our tafsir classes there. Also, I am teaching a class called Falah. So go sign up for that so you can continue the journey in how to have falah and how to be of the muflihun. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Mursaleen ala niyyat al-qabul wal-futuh. Maghfirah wa rahmah. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.